So look at Zechariah 14, Joel chapter 3. Zechariah 14 and 1, Joel chapter 3. Revelation 13, Revelation 14. Zechariah 14 and 1. It says, behold, the day Yahuwah come, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the rest.
And the residue.
Yeah, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall Yahuwah go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand upon in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem. Which is before Jerusalem, on the east, and on the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Ye shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Yehudah. And Yahuwah my Elohim shall come, and all the Kadeshim with thee. So if we flee at this point, that means we're over there. We are over there. Listen what else he says. And it shall come to pass that in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be in one day which shall be known to Yahuwah. Not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. The day spring will arise while you sit in the shadow of death. How do we know that? Look at Matthew 24 before we get the other stuff that I missed.
So when it's supposed to be dark,
it's going to be light. Recreating what happened in the beginning.
Because you're going to be that light that's going to be there.
Exactly.
But listen to the key thing he said. Did you hear how he said? But in one day it shall be a day known unto Yahuwah. That's why he say, look at verse 36 and look what the mouth is saying. Make it 34. He say, truly I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled. Now you sit back and look, I don't know the rest, but I think that's the Shabbat. What it said back with the meaning of Shabbat literally means that his presence shall be with you until all things are completed. That's why he said back and tell you that this generation will not pass till all things be completed. You won't pass because you filled with my presence. And wherever Yah's presence is what? Life. Shamahim and a rat shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But that day and hour no man know, not the Malachim or Shamahim, but my Father only. We see where he get it from in Zechariah. No man knows the day but Yahuwah. See, that's what you sit back looking at. It's just, and that's something that I, probably done shown y'all before. It's subtle things when he dropping book. So if he dropping book and he say this, he's telling you what's happening in Zechariah 14. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what Zechariah told you about. He told you the end from the beginning from the end. I ain't told you nothing new. And nothing new under the sun. That's what it say, right? He said, but as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Whereas in the days of the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And knew not until the flood came and took them away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. There shall be two in the field, one shall be taken and the other left. He took some of Noah people, he left others. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your master will come.
Leah, I told you to get up.
So let's look at backing up to about verse 30, right? Look what he say. He say, then shall appear the Son of Man in Shamahim, and shall all the tribes of their rats mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of Shamahim with great power and great esteem. He shall send his Malachim with a great sound of a trumpet. They shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of Shamahim to the other. You know what I'm saying? So that also sit back looking at is, that doesn't necessarily mean everybody gonna be there. Because if it's chosen can't get there for one reason or another, he say from one end of Shamahim to another, which means the line or the circuit or the takufa. One end to the other, I'm gonna go snatch him. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, mass majority of us going to be over. Those that know the call gonna go, because Jeremiah 50 told you about that. That we will walk with our heads tethered, asking the way to Zion, saying, let us join ourselves to Yahuwah for a perpetual covenant. We asking our way to Zion because we going back. Because the same way Babylon or Medes and Persia said leave, and the same way Mizraim said leave, these people gonna say, get out of here.
So where you gonna go when it's time to live under that?
Look at Joel chapter.
Bring us to Zion.
Hold on, let me finish this Zechariah 14. Because we're going to tie all this in together. That he got to be returning during tabernacles. If he's going to war, and his Malachim are coming with him to fake this man of sin, and we see 42 months he got to rule, we've pretty much ascertained scripturally, not on personal opinion or feeling, that this man going to pull this stunt during peace shot. It's the only time he can pull it. It's the only way he going to line up with a deadly wound and be healed. And to come with a mark in a man's forehead or in his hand, because all that was established during unleavened bread.
And he's copied.
He's copying. So we're going to drop it right about verse 11. And it says, the men shall dwell in it, there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited. And this shall be the plague whereof Yahuwah will smite the people that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Because what he said, he would destroy him with the ruach of his mouth. He coming with fire and a sword, and the slain of Yah shall be many. He say, what manner of Kadesh behavior you ought to be in, knowing the elements shall be burnt up with fervent heat.
The elements shall be burnt up.
I'm going to burn everything up. Everything. Everything. You know what I'm saying? He already told you. Look at the Shamahim above and the rats beneath. He said the Shamahim shall float away like a scroll, and the earth shall perish away likewise, and everybody inside it will perish in like manner. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to burn it up.
You know when the fire comes through.
That's the only thing gonna make a man's tongue consume away in his mouth and his eyes and his whole and his eyes right there, and his flesh consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes consume away in their holes. What else can do that but fire? And it shall come to pass in that day that a great torment from Yahuwah shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor, and Yahuwah also shall fight at Jerusalem. And the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance, the same way like when we left from out of Mizraim. And so shall be the plague of the horse and of the mule and of the camel and of the ass and all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague. And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of the nations which came against Jerusalem, each shall even from year to year worship the King, Yahuwah of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, why out of all the feasts it would mention, he would do all this here?
That's the one he will come back.
Because that's the one he coming back at. Tabernacles is what? Booths, ingathering. Bring all my tithes into the storehouse. What did he tell you? Burn the chaff, burn the tares, bring my wheat into the storehouse. Burning the tares right here.
Literally.
Literally. Literally. He dropping book on people. You know what I'm saying? Joel chapter 3. Something just came to my head again. In that Matthew 24. So what I done. Joel 3:1. Behold, in those days and at that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehudah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. The valley of Jehoshaphat is in the land. And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Yasharal, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Now look at verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, till the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. Let the heathen be awakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come ye down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitude. Now, when do you put your sickle in?
When the harvest is ripe.
When the harvest is ripe. Tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? That's when you put your sickle in.
You're there, gather.
And he gathered, what he said, he gathered them all up for this said cause. The next thing he said, multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the Shamahim and the earth shall shake. But Yahuwah will be the hope of his people, and the strength of the children of Yasharal. So shall ye know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my Kadesh mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be Kadesh. There shall no more strangers pass anymore through her anymore. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Yehudah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of Yahuwah, and shall water the valley of Shittim. We didn't read that in Zechariah where it talked about the waters issuing out of the throne.
Okay, so when it talks about the house, it's talking about what the stone's going to do.
It's talking about Mashiach. He the house.
Time.
He talking about eternal waters or the fountain. We'll deal with the rest of that.
So what does it mean by water the valley of Shittim?
Let's look and see. Joel 3. And basically, when you sitting back looking at it like the water that flew up out of in the garden, same type of deal. So when we look at that, they say, and shall water. We have shakwa, to give drink, to irrigate. Drink, water, to cause to drink water. What did Hamashiach tell you in Revelation 22? All that's thirsty, come to the water of life freely to drink. So when we look at Shittim, right? And we see that basically means Achaeus. That's a tree.
And when you go to the base meaning of the tree, it's a scourge.
And the scourge is to chastise.
Yeah, we'll put fire to it.
You know what I'm saying? So when he's sitting back watering the valley of Shittim, or watering the valley of the Achaeus, or the trees,
It's a scourge.
you know what I'm saying? This watering his people, those who've been purged. Because remember, he said back and say, don't feel the scourge. He scourged every son whom he received, that you may be a son and not a bastard. So when he turned around saying all these things, this is eternal life. But the key thing, you sit back and you put your sickle in during the harvest. This is when you put it in. This goes back to what we already read in Revelation 14 about treading the wine press. Treading the wine press. When you going to tread that wine press? When it's time to gather up what you need. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at Revelation 13 then. Then Revelation 14 and 19, because he sat back and said the valley of decision, the day of Yahuwah is near. He coming with all this camp and all this host. But we look at Revelation 13, 14, and 17. I was just telling Quad this morning, man. Matter of fact, start at Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15. I can remember, bro, being 16 years old, wondering like, what is all this stuff talking about? Much less talking about not just teaching on it, but to actually, like, I know what this is talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, reading this stuff was like reading, like, man, I don't know what it's talking about. You close the book up.
Yeah.
Like, we would always wonder, what is it? Like, I actually know what the mark of the beast is. And what it's talking about. Like, there was a time, because, you know, when you young, everybody pop open the book of Revelation. That's the book they want to read, because that's the book they tell you don't read.
Mm-hmm.
You had nightmares. You know what I'm saying? And you looking at it and you don't know what it's talking about.
You sound crazy. You
You know what I'm
see?
saying? Now we actually sitting here, we actually like we know what it's talking about. So total y'all for that. That's not in and of itself. He said the seventh Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in Shamahim say, the kingdoms of this world are come the kingdoms of our master and of his Mashiach, of Yahuwah and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. Notice I say all these nations gathered up against him. That seventh trumpet sounds. Now we know that's coming from Jericho when they did that thing, the seven things, and then the kingdom fell. But then when we looking at this 7th trumpet sounding, that means that's the conclusion. That's when it's finished. You know what I'm saying? Look at Isaiah 26 and 12. I praise y'all. He took me straight on to it. It was actually 27 and 12. Because remember, right, he said he would gather them from one end of Shamahim to the other. Gathering is the key thing. That's in gathering. That is tabernacles. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall take off from the channel of the river of the stream of Mishraim, or bondage. And ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Yasharal. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown. And they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Mizraim, and shall worship Yahuwah in the Kadesh Mount at Jerusalem. So that already let you know, because Egypt is not that far from the land. And Assyria is not that far from the land. You know what I'm saying? Because we on the outskirts, these people wouldn't let us in. They done killed us. We got to hide, we got to duck, we got to die. But you notice he say that great trumpet, which is that 7th trumpet, then we could come in, because I got to gather you one by one. That's tabernacle. You know what I'm saying? Why would he say outcasts? That's what he called us, outcasts.
And so when he says he shall gather us one by one, there's a 144 going to that?
Well, they was already plucked.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They the first fruits. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, though, you like, you know what I'm saying? This wild that we can actually look at this man by the favor of Yahuwah and be able to pinpoint, like we know when this stuff is going to know the season. You know what I'm saying? Not the day or the hour, but the season, the appointed time. Come back over here and look at Matthew. Oh, we already looked at Matthew.
You don't have the specific, but you got the general. You got a
You got a general line.
You got a general idea. 13th chapter of Revelation. Well, we don't even need that. Look at the 14th chapter. Verse 2, right? Well, you can see verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their forehead. Kadesh to Yahuwah. And I heard a voice from Shamahim as the voice of many waters, as the voice of great thunder. And I heard the voice of the harpers harping with their harps. And they sung it as it were a new song before the throne, before the 4 beasts and the elders. No man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from their wrath. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Elohim into the Lamb.
So when it says these are they which were not defiled with women, they are virgins.
Just pure. Me and the brother talking about like not literally like they ain't never touched no woman.
There's no sin.
See, in their mouth, it's kind of like when even though everybody done it, it's kind of like when he said, he told Elijah, he said, don't fret, I got 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to Baal. He said, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they were without fault before the throne of Elohim. And I saw another Malachim fly in the midst of Shamahim, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on their rest, and to every nation. Lord, my place is that fast.
And kindred.
Yeah, I'll find the verse that one.
Six.
Yeah, there it is. To preach unto them that dwell on their rest, to every nation, kindred, and tongue, and people. The same way you see the sun, moon, and stars in the midst of Shamahim preaching to every nation, every kindred, tongue, and people. So that's the book be damning these people when they tell them that everybody can't be saved. Hello? Hello? Saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim, and give esteem to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Worship him that made Shamahim and their rats in the sea and the fountains of the waters. And then followed another Malachim saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Babylon is confusion. The man of sin is coming with confusion. Hashatan is the altar of confusion. You know what I'm talking about? So he got the people confused with the covenant that he came to teach for you to get the name of the beast in your forehead instead of Kadesh to you in your forehead. You got his mark in your hand. Therefore, there's confusion in the earth on who the living Elohim is. Because he done stood in the temple and did what? Made the abomination that was desolate. By saying he was Elohim, by setting up an idol in the temple of Elohim, in the city of Elohim.
Of himself.
Of himself.
Which is that worship of himself.
Which, that's rough right there. And it says that and there followed another Malachim, we read that right, I'm sorry. And the third Malachim followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Kadesh Malachim and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment is sent up forever and ever. And they shall have no rest day nor night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. No rest, no shalom. There's no shalom to the wicked. I'm going to tell you something real, man, while it's in my heart. I'm going to tell you something dead real. Everybody can hear the sound of my voice. May watch it on tape later. If you take that man mark, you was already a transgressor and an unbeliever before it even came. Before it even came, because you would be willing to sit down and take the doctrine of devils straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nowhere in the world you gonna take this man marking his name in his forehead if you were Kadesh to Yahuwah and you actually believed. There's no way that will happen. Because listen what the man tell you. Because here's the patience of the Kadeshim. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahusha. We not gonna take it. Because I keep the commandments of Elohim. Why? Because I know the law. Those that know not the law are cursed. I believe in Yahusha as the scripture has said. So there's nothing that can make me go for that. If you can get drawn off to sin before the man of sin come out, you already going to go for it if you live it. How you not? You already seen it. You already unbelieving. When the man called, you didn't answer. So you think you're going to answer when it get real? If you ain't answering when it's easy? You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy right now.
Can't do it now, you sure not.
Yeah, if you can't subject your flesh to fear Yah just from the desires that are contrary to his word, how you gonna subject your flesh when this man stand before you and say, I'm gonna kill you? If you don't worship this idol, you ain't gonna get on your Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You ain't gonna get on your Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. You ain't gonna get on that. You ain't gonna be like, we careful to answer you in this matter. Our Elohim is able to deliver. But if not, I still ain't doing it.
How you gonna kill something that's
ready to die. That's why he say, sanctify Yahuwah Elohim in your hearts and let him be your fear and let him be your dread. He say that confederacy or that conspiracy, that unlawful alliance, do not let that put no fear in your heart.
In 25 minutes at 6 o'clock.
That's what we have, right? Niggas have fear in their heart. They fear man. That's what I'm saying.
Man that can kill the virus.
We read that last night. See, I'm gonna tell you something, right? Niggas' faith don't be in y'all. They faith be in man. That's why niggas talking about you made me lose my faith. No, ain't nobody made you lose your faith because you never had it. You know what I'm talking about? Your love don't be in y'all. Your love be in man. Your fear don't be of y'all. Your fear be of man. You know what I'm saying? One thing for certain, boy, I ain't never pointed no finger at myself. Never at any time. That when you had to turn around and you look at that, when you see somebody, that's not, man, make yourself of no reputation. You know what I'm saying? Now you can sit back and be like, hey, I'm nice with mine. You let it be known. You better find somebody to play with. You know what I'm saying? Because even Mashiach let them know, well, all right now.
I ain't the one.
I ain't the one now. Shoot, the apostles did it too. I ain't the one now. Find somebody to play with. You know what I'm talking about? At the same time, though, you're not bringing attention unto yourself. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm telling y'all something real now. If you can't stand up in the paint now, facing just fleshly temptation, you're not going to stand up in the paint. When you talking about he let that temptation that come around the whole arrest to try men. And that's when it's going to get real. This is the next thing that man said over. And I heard a voice from Shamahim saying unto me, Right, but Baruch are the dead which die in the master from henceforth. Yea, saith the Ruach, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. That stuff going to follow you. Because guess what, right? Moses died. His works followed him. You know what I'm saying? He died in the master. He might have did something wrong, but his word followed him. That's why he was able to be transfigured on that mountain with the master. His word followed him. Now, we ain't going to read all that stuff, but you know in Revelation 14, we read it last night. They seen a man with a sickle in his hand on a cloud, right? I will go and read it, verse 14, might as well. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud upon the cloud. One sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. You only bring the sickle out harvest time. This man talking about treading down grapes. You know what I'm talking about? When you then sit back and look at it, right? Because I'm trying to think of something that says something about some summer fruit. Something, well, oh yeah, go back to Matthew 24. Yeah, I did want to go back to Matthew 24. And then we'll swing around here to Revelation 19 and Revelation 20 and wrap him up. Now he talking about summer fruit. You know when you go pick up your summer, you pick up summer fruit at 2 occasions. Pentecost. Well, actually 3 occasions. Because you can get it with that first barley harvest with the first fruits. That's summer harvest. You got your harvest that you grab at Pentecost, but then your harvest that you bringing in the winter, those are summer fruits in there as well.
They've been growing all summer.
They've been growing all summer. Matthew chapter 24, verse 31, 32, he said, now learn the parable of the fig tree. When the branch is yet tender and put forth her leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when you shall see all these things, know that it is near, even unto the doors. So when he told you when you see this tribulation, well, basically what we've been sitting back looking at, when you see the abomination of desolation, and you got to flee. He's sitting here telling you the same way you know when that fig tree put forth her leaves and you know summer is near. He said when you see these things, you know this thing is close. Now when he talking about the fig leaf putting the tree, that means it's winter time. You know what I'm saying? So then you know summer is close, meaning you know Pesach is approaching, unleavened bread is approaching. But now he's sitting here telling you, but when you see this abomination desolate, knowing that man got 42 months to rule, that middle, that 6 months is leaving you smack dab in the middle of a year. If we are going on the assertion that he's going to pull this in the first month of the year, which is going to set you up to know tabernacles is near, because I'm coming to gather my fruit into my barn, bring it in, and I'm going to war with this man. Come on in Revelation 19. Make it 9. Because we know when the marriage supper of the Lamb is, that's tabernacles. That take you right back to what I was telling you the other day. Bereshit, Genesis 29, when Jacob said, I done worked for my wife, let me get her, and they made a feast. Marriage supper. And he saith unto me, right, Baruch are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of Elohim. And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant of thy brethren that have the testimony of YAHUSHA. Worship Elohim, for the testimony of YAHUSHA is the ruach of prophecy. And I saw Shamahim open, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war, just like what you read, and Joel and Zechariah. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew, but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in Shamahim followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Because remember, he told you that the Kadeshim were coming with him in Zechariah. Now let's drop down to Revelation chapter 20. And look at verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of YAHUSHA and for the word of Elohim, which had not worshipped the beast, neither in another day, because we probably will continue the topic on. We're going to show you where he get this from. You know what I'm saying? Those that were killed for not worshiping idols. You know what I'm talking about? He said, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. Because I'm going to tell you something, first thing come to my mind is Jezebel was killing the prophets because they would not worship Baal. To the point where Obadiah had to hide about 50 in caves. The same way you see how the master going to be hiding us in the wilderness. You know what I'm talking about? Because they coming to kill all those that won't worship the idols.
Don't want to call it.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at now, we've already ascertained the mark in the forehead is the name of the beast versus Kadesh to Yahuwah. The mark in your hand is the covenant or the seal of following his teachings.
Doing your fruit, your bad fruit, bad words.
He say, but the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Baruch and Kadesh is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. But they shall be priests of Elohim and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So what this boiling down to is those that refused, who loved their own, didn't love their lives even unto the death. What it ends up occurring, them boy bucked that. Them boy bucked that. But at the same time, they bucked that knowing, I'm not doing that. And then when you sitting back looking at, remember because we already started this, the graves will be moved that they're coming, and everybody in the dead of Mashiach shall rise, everybody gathered unto him, because guess what's coming up out the ground? My harvest. The fruits are coming up out of the ground. I got to gather them up. That's how we know that when this tribulation ends, it'll be during tabernacles. Hallelujah for Yahusha.
You know, so crazy that after all that,